You ever feel like you're just stuck on a financial hamster wheel? You're running as hard as you possibly can, but you're not actually getting anywhere? Well, today we're going to dive into some source material to figure out how we can break those cycles for good.
So let's just get right into it. Think about it for a second. You did everything you were supposed to do, right? You studied hard. You got the degree. You landed a good job. You show up. You work hard. So why does it feel like you're just treading water financially, or maybe even sinking a little? It's this super frustrating paradox that so many of us are living with.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The core idea from our source is this. It's not that you're failing at the game. It's that you might be playing the wrong game entirely. The very rules we've all been taught to follow could actually be the things holding us back. Okay, so if we're playing the wrong game, what are these rules that are tripping us up? Let's kick things off with the first one. Our source calls it the security path, and we're going to see why it can so often lead to a dead end.
I mean, we all know this script by heart, don't we? Get that safe, stable job, maybe one with a good pension. But here's the flaw that our source points out. This entire mindset prioritizes security over any kind of real growth. It's all about getting a steady paycheck just to pay the bills, not about building actual lasting wealth.
And that focus on the secure paycheck? Well, it leads us straight into the second major trap, the time for money exchange.
Our source material is really clear about this one. Most jobs, when you boil them down, are built on this exact principle. You're getting paid for your time, for your presence, for the hours you put in. But what happens when you run out of hours to sell?
And wow, this slide really lays it out perfectly. Look on the left. As an employee, your input is your time, and that leads to a paycheck that has a ceiling. But check out the right side. For an owner or an investor, the input is a system or an asset, like a business, a stock portfolio, a rental property. These things can make money pretty much on their own, which means your income can scale and grow without you having to work more hours.
So it all comes down to this number, 24. There are only 24 hours in a day. That's it. So when your income is tied directly to this finite resource, your earning potential hits a hard wall. You literally can't make more time.
Okay, so beyond these structural traps, our source points to a really powerful barrier. It's inside all of us. Let's talk about the high price of fear.
And according to the source, these are the big three that keep us stuck. Do these sound familiar? The fear of failing at something, the fear of losing money on an investment, or even just the fear of stepping out of your comfort zone and trying something new. I mean, these emotions, they can be absolutely paralyzing.
And here's the real consequence. See, fear doesn't just make you feel bad, it actually dictates your actions. When you try to avoid all risk, you also end up avoiding all opportunity. And that is what keeps people stuck in the exact same spot for years, sometimes decades, even when they know they need a change.
A lot of that fear comes from simply not knowing any better, which brings us to our next major problem. It's not just about what we do, it's also about what we don't know. Let's talk about the financial education gap. For most people, this is just the default setting for how to handle money. You get your paycheck, you pay your bills, you buy your stuff, and then, if there happens to be anything left over, you try to save it. But honestly, how often is there really anything left?
Now, this is what I find so cool. Look at how our source just flips this whole script. The wealth path completely reverses the priorities. You earn your money, and then you immediately put some of it to work for you through investing. Spending? That happens after you've paid your future self first. It's such a simple shift, but it is profoundly powerful. But here's the thing. All of these strategies, creating assets, investing first, they all depend on one single crucial element. And our source calls it the ultimate asset, your mindset.
This quote from the material, this is everything. It's the key takeaway. Your financial reality, what you see in your bank account, is just a mirror reflecting your internal beliefs about money. Before you can change your finances, you have to change your thinking.
And the source points to these kinds of common limiting stories that we tell ourselves all the time. Things like money is the root of all evil, or people like me can never be rich, or maybe it's all just luck anyway. These aren't just harmless thoughts, they're the instructions that keep us right on that security path and stuck in the time for money trap.
So, the most crucial point is this. You just can't outperform your own self-image. If you want to see a different result in your life, you have to start by telling yourself a completely different story about what's actually possible for you.
And that brings us to our final slide and really a question for you to think about. Looking at everything we've just covered, from the time for money trap to the stories we tell ourselves, What is the one financial belief you hold that you might be willing to question, starting today? Because that one question, that could be the start of a whole new path.